Welcome back to the 12th Man. Joining me today, I have a man who was very well received. I feel like I say that about every guest, but every guest seems to be well received, Rob. But you received lots of love from the episode we did regarding our goalkeeper situation last week. Yeah. Rob Warner, how are you?
I'm all right, mate, yeah. Excited for the start of the season tomorrow, and obviously very excited to have seen the way some of the results have played out today.
Oh, God, yeah.
I think if we're talking about food chains, people like to talk about food chains, don't they, on Twitter? I think if this was an actual food chain, then the Great White Shark would be at the bottom of the food chain, according to the Premier League table at the moment. So I'm quite enjoying that.
It's upside down, isn't it?
Yeah. But hey, tough at the bottom.
Indeed. So, news out today, kind of came to light a little bit last night, but news in the press this morning, here we go from Fabrizio Romano saying that the Leon Goretzka is a here we go. Unai Emery called him this afternoon and he accepted the project. He only ever wanted Aston Villa. Mate, Leon Goretzka to Aston Villa.
It's unreal. I don't know what's more unreal. The idea of Leon Goretzka playing Champions League football in a Villa shirt, or your almost perfect impersonation there of Brad Pitt in Inglourious Bastards.
I was aiming for Fabrizio, but yeah, my bad. At least it sounded like someone. So, speaking of Leon Goretzka, mate, and this episode, and I'm going to title this episode, Why We Should Be Excited About Leon Goretzka. Now, one thing that I've seen online a few times today, and I haven't nibbled once because I thought, no, I'm just not having a day of education. I'm not educating people today. There's so many tweets today, Rob, that I've seen of people saying Leon Goretzka's legs have gone. The bloke played 51 games last season. Does that sound like a man whose legs have gone to you, Rob?
Not really. Not at a club like, but it's not like Bayern Munich are short of options, is it?
Yeah.
Or the German national team, for that matter.
Yeah, and to be fair, I think that was just club, Rob. I think it was 31 Bundesliga, 10 Champions League, 6 DFB Pokal, if I'm pronouncing that correct. Apologies if I've butchered it, if there's any Germans listening. The FIFA German. World Cup 3 games, and the DFL Super Cup 1 game. Yeah. So that's not even including a World Cup, Rob. So for someone who's 31 years old, he would have been right up there in most minutes played if he had that season at Villa.
Yeah, no, I think it's been interesting seeing people concerned about his age and also people wanting to give Ollie Watkins a new contract when there's only a few months between them, really.
Can't be one or the other.
No. I mean, I get that players age differently and different positions have different requirements, but Goretzka's clearly been a very good player for a long time. I can imagine a lot of Villa fans are perhaps still feeling a little bit burnt after Coutinho, who was a dwindling superstar that we brought in. But I think he was very much. It was clear that he was dwindling. Whereas,
apart from on his debut against Man United, was it Man United?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
He had an absolute blinder.
He did, yeah. But I don't think he even played 50 games the whole time he was at Barcelona, did he? So, you're saying Goretzka's played that last season. So I think he's going to be an incredible signing. He's a powerful runner. He can pass a ball. He's strong, tall, good in the air, scores goals. He's pretty much Amadou Onana, really, but, with more experience. And I think even just aside from the qualities he'll bring on the pitch, I think off the pitch, he'll make a massive difference. People talk about the importance of having winners in the dressing room when it comes to the crunch moments. We got to the quarterfinals of the Champions League last time we were in it, and this is a guy who, that's typically, if he went out of the quarterfinals most seasons, that'd be a disappointment. And having that calm head in those moments is really important. And we've lost some experience this season. There's no denying it. Luca Dean, Konsa have gone, Tielemans has gone. But I think in European competition, all three of them were relatively inexperienced, certainly compared to somebody like Goretzka. So I think having him around the place and the young players being able to learn from him can only be a good thing. I'm absolutely buzzing to get him in.
Yeah, and speaking of experience, Rob, this is a man in his 8 years at Bayern Munich. Now, obviously, Bayern Munich are gargantuan in Germany, and always the favourites to win the league. But let's not take that away from a man who has won 7 Bundesligas, 3 DFB Pokals. Again, sorry, apologies if I'm butchering that.
It's Pokal.
He's won the Super Cup 5 times. He's won the Champions League in 2019-20.
Yep.
He's won the Super Cup, and he's won a FIFA Club World Cup. That, for me, is, well, it's more trophies than the entire squad put together, isn't it? But for me, Rob, it's the importance of having that senior figure in the dressing room, which is not just necessarily a senior figure in the dressing room, but ultimately somebody who is used to playing in high pressure environments, used to playing in important must-win games, ready to handle pressure at any given moment. For me, that's priceless. I don't, when you look at a fee of a player, and obviously he's coming in on a free, but when you look at the fee for a player, what do you pay for a player of that caliber?
Yeah. Obviously he's 31, but you've got to be looking at he's a 30-40 million pound footballer even at that age.
Yeah.
For free. So I would anticipate that will be reflected in his wages. That's not to say he's going to get a bump from what he was on at Bayern, but I wouldn't be surprised if he comes in as the highest earner in the club. And you'd be hard pressed to argue why he shouldn't be. People are talking about he'll come in and he'll be good backup for this and that. No chance. He's coming in to start football matches. It's just a case of where.
It's a good problem to have, Rob, because
I mean, if we got, I think if we'd got him available tomorrow, if Watkins isn't available for selection, you could probably just put him up front, like Arsenal did with Nickel Marino.
Yeah. I mean,
because I think, is he going to do the run-in that Onana previously did? Is he going to play in a number 10 role? Will they switch between the two? Will we even play the same sort of system that we did with Tielemans within it? Who knows? Well, Emery knows, I'd think, and I'd imagine the players do by now. But yeah, I think it just gives us so many different options through the centre of the pitch, even to change shape during a game. And I think that's something that's been quite evident with all the signings that we've made. I know people have been worried that Emery said he wasn't expecting this level of change, but I think all the signings,
he can't handle it though, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, he walked into Steven Gerrard's team and got on European football, and none of them knew his system, knew his game. It took a little while, and we had an embarrassing FA Cup home defeat and whatever else, but he's clearly an elite manager. And the players that he's bringing in now they're giving him much more option in game and game by game. We've now got 2 defensive fullbacks and 2 attacking fullbacks. We've got quite the variety right in the centre of that midfield that we can do things with. And there's potentially, who knows, could be somebody else coming in within that area. I think behind the strikers now, we've got real variety. Manzambi can play off the left and off the striker as well. So, Garnacho gives us real pace on the counter-attack that we've not had since Moussa Diaby and since before Bailey finally twanged his hamstring one final time. And if Watkins goes and we get somebody more mobile up front, if that is Jackson or whoever, then there's just loads of variety to choose from, loads of ways that we can set up for each opponent, and that's got to be exciting, surely.
Yeah, it's really exciting, Rob. The numbers are slowly starting to fill. We haven't seen anything of Manzambi so far. He's going to feel like a complete new signing, even though he is, it's a bit of a silly thing to say. But what I mean by that is he hasn't had a pre-season with us, even though we signed him during pre-season. Obviously, he was injured, so he's going straight into the deep end. But, it's very exciting. I'd said this before in a couple of episodes. It's we've got a few youth players as well who look like they're ready to step up and get some minutes. So it's exciting to see the numbers start to fill out. I still feel like we're a little bit short. I still feel like we need to get Leon Bailey out the door, and probably one more on that front line of the front three to some extent. And then striker-wise, I mean, yeah, once the Ollie Watkins debacle has, untangled itself and we know what's going on with that. And I really hope that happens soon, Rob, because as much as I'm enjoying doing these, transfer talk episodes where we talk about new players, I try and not really touch upon rumours, as much as I really enjoy making content, not enough to make an episode every time there's a rumour of a player.
Yeah.
Otherwise you'd be making bloody back-to-back videos all day. But, it's nice to see us starting to fill out, and add in someone like Leon Goretzka is absolutely huge for me, mate. So really excited for that one. Can play. He's predominantly box to box. Can play in the DM role as well. And I tell you one thing, Rob. One thing after watching a few compilations of him earlier as well. I mean, I've seen plenty. I'm not a faker. If I haven't watched a player, I categorically say I have no fucking idea who this guy is. But his highlight reels make him look like the best player in the world. I say that all the time. But with Goretzka, I've seen a lot of Goretzka, but I did watch some highlight reels to get in the mood earlier, Rob, and the bloke, and I don't think I've ever seen him do it watching a game that he was playing in, but he can take a free kick.
Yeah.
Refreshing.
Yeah, totally. Which again, we need that, but I think again now we've got Buendia takes that cheeky little knuckleball one that he can get over from short distance, whereas clearly Goretzka can just larp them in from all over the place, which just becomes another method of scoring goals. People have said that, forget what the stat was, I think it was 46% of our goals last season were scored by Rodgers and Watkins, and if they've both gone, that's a lot of goals to replace. And I kind of wonder, I would look at it the other way and think, are there players that if had been in the same positions last season, we might have scored more goals than we did?
Yeah.
I think if you look at every signing we've made as an individual, clearly the turnover of players is fairly unprecedented, certainly in recent history of Villa. Or perhaps it's not. The year we came up, we had made about 45 signings, didn't we? Because everybody's either on loan or out of contract when we got promoted. But I think if you look at them all like for like, or man for man, it's every single one of them. You're like, what a good signing. I was chatting to the guy because I'm getting old now, so I go to the. I've got a big fish tank, and I go to the fish shop every week and have a chat with the guy that runs that. He's a Macclesfield season ticket holder, and he knows his football inside out. And he was saying to me, he was like, you got them two young lads, Hemmings and Maggio, both look ready for the Premier League.
Yeah.
The goalkeeper that's come in, everybody's really excited about, and he's still very much a young kid in goalkeeper terms. Wan-Bissaka, a couple of years ago, or maybe 3 years ago, you would argue was one of the best one-on-one defenders in the Premier League. Gives us some real options. I don't really know anything about Ruggieri other than he's a big lad and he just seems very excited every time I see pictures of him at Bodymore Heath. João Gomez, we knew was a good player at Wolves. He's looked even better within our system. Manzambi, everyone was talking about last season, and then we came up against him, and then he had a good World Cup, and then we signed him. Goretzka, everybody should know about, and Garnacho, he's clearly a very talented footballer, and unfortunately for a young lad, he's had to play for Ten Hag, he's played for Amorim, he's played for Liam Rosenior. It's sometimes you've just got to blame the parents, haven't you? On this occasion, he's finally got himself a new dad that's going to look after him. So I think all of them individually look like great signings. And I think out of all of them, Goretzka's potentially the biggest statement of intent. There's a lot of people who, have been saying over the summer, why hasn't he got a club yet? And I think, and I think, I think people are going to fall in love with him. I think if we'd have signed him by this morning, we probably would have sold a lot of shirts with his name on the back. But it'd be interesting as to what number he takes, because he's always played 8 or 18, and they're both gone. So
28 maybe.
I don't know. I like to nerd out about these things. So there's 15, 16, 19, 20, and 21 are currently available. So
I'll be getting him on the back of the away shirt. 100%.
Yeah, I can imagine him getting a 16, and I don't know why. But hey, let's see.
16, interesting number. Rob, thanks for joining me. I didn't want to, we'll keep it nice and sweet and short. I think we've said enough. I think we've, said our feelings towards him. Lots to look forward to for the rest of the window. Brighton coming tomorrow. Exciting times ahead, mate. So thank you for joining me on this one, Roberto.
Pleasure.
All the best. Thanks to everyone who's been listening. Everybody, if you're enjoying the content, please do all that good stuff. Like, subscribe, comment. Let's have a chat in the comments. Always down for a good chinwag about football in the comments. So definitely get involved. But for myself and Warner, up the Villa.
Up the Villa. Bis zum nächstes Mal.